Hey guys, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. My name is Crown, and today I'm going to read you some very interesting stories that I hope that you're gonna go. I'm 16, and my dad just died, and I feel like I'm drowning in a sea of grown-up problems. Let me back up a bit. My parents split up when I was little. It wasn't pretty, but they worked out this deal where I'd spend 1 week with mom, 1 week with dad. Mom got legal custody, but dad was always a huge part of my life. He was my rock, always there for me no matter what. Dad wasn't perfect, he had his issues, sure, and there was some legal stuff going on, and I never got the full story, but I knew he had a lawyer handling it. But to me, he was just dad. The guy who taught me to ride a bike, who cheered the loudest at my soccer games, who always knew how to make me laugh when I was down. Then a few months ago, dad sold his house. Said he needed a fresh start and he put most of his stuff in storage but kept the important things. His PlayStation 5, some clothes, his favorite watch. I didn't think much of it at the time. I was just excited about the idea of him finding a new place, maybe somewhere closer to my school. But then, God, it's still hard to talk about. Dad got sick, really fast. 1 minute he was fine and the next he was in the hospital. I was there when he left us. It was the worst moment of my life. I thought that was as bad as it could get, but I was wrong. My grandmother, dad's mom, she started acting weird right away. Like, before we even had a chance to plan the funeral, I caught her going through dad's things, taking stuff. Mama, what are you doing? Oh, honey, I'm just tidying up a bit. Your father would want his things to go to good use. But shouldn't we wait? We haven't even had the funeral yet. Now, there is no sense in letting good things go to waste. I'm sure your father would agree. I didn't know what to say. I mean, this was my grandmother. She was supposed to be on my side, right? But something felt off. It got worse when I realized she was giving dad's stuff away. His PlayStation 5, his clothes, even his jewelry. I tried to stop her, but she just brushed me off. I'm doing what's best, dear. Your father would want his family to have his things. But I am his family too. And what about my stuff? I had things at his place. Oh, that's all in storage. Don't you worry about it. But I did worry, because when I asked where the storage unit was, she wouldn't tell me. Said it wasn't my concern. But it was my concern. My whole life was dad was in that unit. I called mom crying. I didn't know what else to do. Mom, Mama was giving all dad's stuff away. She won't let me get my things from the storage unit. What do we do? Oh, sweetheart, I am so sorry. We will figure this out, I promise. Mom tried to talk to Karen, but it didn't go well. Look, I know this is a difficult time for everyone, but you can't just give away all of his things. His daughter has a right to them too. I am his mother. I know what he would have wanted. But there is no well. You can't just decide, I can and I will. Now, if you'll excuse me. And that's when Mom started looking into legal stuff. Probate, she called it. But it was taking time, and every day that passed, I was scared more of our things, were disappearing. Then I remembered Dad's lawyer, the one who handled the custody stuff that was working on Dad's current case. I knew there was some money left over. A retrainer, Mom called it. Maybe he could help. But when Mom called him, things got even weirder. Yes, I'm calling about the estate of my daughter's dad. I understand you were handling a case for him? Yes, that's correct. But I'm afraid I can't discuss the details with you. I understand, but his daughter is a minor, and there are some concerns about his mother giving away his positions. We were hoping you could help. I'm sorry, but I've already been in contact with the dad's mother. She's requested that I return his phone to her. But is that legal? You know he has a daughter, and there is no will. I'm just following the instructions I've been given. By whom? He's gone and his mother isn't his legal next of kin. His daughter is. I'm sorry, but I can't discuss this further. I was in shock. This lawyer knew about me. He'd helped Dad fight for custody of me. How could he just ignore me now? That's where things stand now. Mom's still trying to figure out the legal stuff, but it's slow going. Every day I feel like I'm losing more of Dad. His things, his memories, and it's all slipping away. I don't know what to do. I'm only 16. I shouldn't have to fight my own grandmother for my dad's things, for my things. But here I am. Mom says that we will figure it out, that we will fight this, but I'm scared. What if we're too late? What if by the time we get through all the legal stuff, everything's gone? I miss my dad so much and now I feel like I'm losing him all over again. I started doing my own research. Turns out, there are laws about this kind of thing. Laws that protect kids like me when a parent dies without a will. Mom and I took what we learned and went to see a different lawyer. This new lawyer, she was amazing. She listened to our whole story and then she got this look in her eye, like a tiger about to pounce. What's happened here is not just unethical, it's illegal. As a deceased only child, you have rights. We're going to fight this and we're going to win. And fight we did. We filed for an emergency injunction to stop Karen from giving away any more of that stuff. We demanded an accounting of everything she'd already given away or sold. We even reported Dad's old lawyer to the Bar Association for his shady behavior. It wasn't easy. Karen fought us every step of the way. She tried to paint herself as a grieving mother, just trying to honor her son's wishes, but that wasn't flying. The look on Karen's face when the judge ordered her to return everything and give us access to the storage unit? Priceless. But the best part came when we finally got into that storage unit. There, among Dad's things, was a letter. A letter addressed to me. Dad had written it just after he sold the house. He talked about how much he loved me, how proud he was of me, and at the end he wrote, "If anything ever happens to me, kiddo, remember this. Everything I have is yours. Don't let anyone tell you different. You're strong, you're smart, and you're a fighter, just like your old man." I cried when I read it, but this time they were good tears, because I knew no matter what, Dad was still with me. Oh, and last I heard, Karen was facing charges for theft and interfering with an estate. Turns out giving away a dead person's stuff without permission is a big no-no. Life's not perfect, but I'm getting through it. One day at a time, just like Dad taught me. I'm a freelance developer and I've been cooped up in my apartment for days, working on a big project for a new client. My friend who works as a mechanic had been pulling long shifts at the garage. We were both in desperate need of a break. So when Friday rolled around, we decided to take the afternoon off and grab some lunch together. My friend picked me up in his beat-up sedan, not the fanciest ride, but it got the job done. And we didn't have a specific place in mind. Just drove around looking for somewhere new to try. As we cruised down the main road chatting about our week, we hit unexpected traffic. It was odd for that time of day, but we didn't think much of it at first. And that's when things took a turn for the bizarre. We found ourselves stopped next to this flashy red Ferrari. Now, seeing a car like that isn't an everyday occurrence in our town, so it caught our attention right away. But what really grabbed us was the woman behind the wheel. She was probably in her late 40s with bleach blonde hair and designer sunglasses perched on her nose. And man, was she mad. Half her body was hanging out the window and she was screaming at the top of her lungs at the poor guy in the car behind her. Dude, are you seeing this? Yeah, what the hell is her problem? The guy in the other car looked totally confused. He was driving an average sedan, nothing special, and he kept trying to say something but the woman wouldn't let him get a word in edgewise. You idiot! Do you know how much this car costs? How dare you tailgate me? I should call the police on you right now. Ma'am, I wasn't tailgating. I was maintaining a safe distance. Shut up. You don't know anything. I'll have your license revoked for this. I say to my friend, I'm gonna record this. This is too crazy. I pulled out my phone and started filming. And boy am I glad I did, because what happened next was unreal. Without warning, the woman threw her Ferrari into reverse and slammed right into the other guy's car. The crunch of metal was sickening. My friend and I looked at each other in shock. Holy moly! Did she just... Yeah, she did. What a psycho. But it didn't end there. The woman got out of her car looking even more enraged than before. Look what you did to my car. You hit me. You're going to pay for every cent of damage. And then I'm going to sue you for everything you own. I'll see you rot in jail for this. The other driver was stunned. He got out of his car, his hands shaking. But you hit me. I didn't do anything. Liar. Where is a cop when you need one? I am calling 911 right now. Just then, the traffic started moving. Horns were blaring behind us, and both the Ferrari and the other car had to move. We followed, curious to see how this would play out. About half a kilometer down the road, we saw both cars pulled over to the side. A police cruiser was parked behind them, and two officers were talking to the drivers. My friend slowed down as we approached. The guy from the other car spotted us, and his eyes lit up with recognition. He started waving frantically. Hey, you guys, please, can you help me? Did you see what happened back there? I rolled down my window as we pulled up alongside them. Yeah, we saw everything. Oh, thank God. Please, you have to tell the officers what happened. This woman is trying to say I hit her car, but I swear I didn't. Karen interrupting, these people weren't even there. They don't know anything. I say, actually, I don't need to testify. I have two videos of the whole thing. One shows you yelling before the accident, and the other clearly shows you backing into this man's car. The look on the woman's face was priceless. She went from red with anger to ghostly white in seconds. One of the officers approached me. Sir, what's your involvement in this incident? We were in a car next to them when it happened. I recorded the whole thing on my phone. I held up my phone ready to show them the video, and that's when the woman made her move. In a flash, she was back in her Ferrari, engine roaring to life. Ma'am, stop right there. But she was already peeling out, tires screeching as she sped away. The officers quickly jumped into their cruiser and radioed for backup before taking off after her. We stayed with the other driver for a bit, making sure he was okay and giving him my contact information in case he needed a witness. He was shaken but grateful. I can't thank you enough. I thought I was going to be in serious trouble. There is no way I could have afforded to fix a Ferrari. No problem, man. I'm just glad I could help. We left shortly after, finally continuing our search for lunch. But our appetites have been replaced by adrenaline and disbelief at what we just witnessed. A few hours later, I got a call from the police station. They asked if I could come down and give a statement, which I did. And that's when I learned the full extent of what had happened after the woman fled. Apparently, in her desperation to escape, she'd sideswiped three other cars and run two red lights. The chase ended when she lost control trying to take a turn too fast and rolled her Ferrari into a ditch. She was taken to the hospital with minor injuries, but the real damage was to her ego and her wallet. The officer I spoke to couldn't hide his satisfaction as he filled me in. Thanks to your video evidence, we've got her dead to rights on reckless driving, leaving the scene of an accident and filing a false police report, not to mention the damage to all those other vehicles. Wow, that's intense. What's going to happen to her? Well, she's looking at some serious charges. Multiple felonies, actually. And from what we've gathered, this isn't her first offense. As for the woman, well, her day in court didn't go well for her. Between the video evidence, her previous record, and the testimony of all the people she'd hit during her escape attempt, she was facing some serious list of charges. Last I heard, she was looking at a hefty fine, loss of her driver's license, and even some jail time. You know, when my friend and I set out that day, we were just looking for a good burger. Instead, we got front row seats to one of the craziest things I've ever seen. It just goes to show you never know what might happen when you leave the house. You never know when hitting record might be the difference between justice served and an innocent person getting blamed for something they didn't do. I was born different, and that's all it took for my life to become a living hell. From the moment I was adopted, my parents treated me like I was broken. They'd yell at me for not making eye contact, for flapping my hands when I got excited, for being too quiet or too loud. Nothing I did was ever right. When I was 5, a doctor finally put a name to it: autism. But instead of helping me, that label just gave my parents more ammo. Why can't you be normal? They'd scream. We didn't sign up for a defective kid. School wasn't much better. The other kids thought I was weird and the teachers didn't know what to do with me. I'd get overwhelmed by all the noise and lights, and sometimes I'd have meltdowns. That just made everyone treat me worse. But here's the thing. I wasn't stupid. Far from it. By the time I was 13, I was taking college-level courses. The material came easy to me, and for once I felt like I was good at something. But even that became a problem. What's this? College classes? You think you're better than everyone else now? Mom yells at me. No, I just... Don't talk back to me. That's when she started hitting me. It wasn't the first time she'd gotten physical, but now it was happening more and more. I couldn't take it anymore. So one night I packed a bag and just left. For 2 years I was on my own. I slept in shelters when I could, on the streets when I couldn't. I picked up odd jobs here and there just trying to survive. It wasn't easy, especially with my autism making social interactions so difficult, but it was all still better than home. Then, a few months after I turned 16, I got caught shoplifting food. Instead of juvie, they sent me to a group home. I thought things might finally get better. I was wrong. The group home wasn't terrible, but it wasn't great either. The staff tried their best, but they were overworked and underpaid. Most of the other kids there had their own issues to deal with. We were all just trying to get by. The worst part was the school. All of us from the group homes had to go to this continuation school. On the first day, the principal gave us a speech that made my blood boil. I'm here to teach you to speak in complete sentences and use words that have more than two syllables. I wanted to scream. How dare he talk to us like that? He didn't know anything about us or what we've been through. Just because we were in a group home didn't mean we were idiots. But I was so tired, tired of fighting, tired of having to prove myself over and over again. So I decided to do something different. If they thought we were stupid, fine. I'd show them stupid. For the next few months, I played the role of a complete airhead. I asked the dumbest questions I could think of in class. So, like, if Earth is round, why don't we fall off the bottom? That's not how gravity works. The teacher says. Gravity? Is that like when something's really serious? I made ridiculous mistakes on purpose, talked in a Valley Girl accent, and generally acted like I didn't have two brain cells to rub together. And you know what? It was kind of fun. For once, I didn't have the pressure of trying to be the smartest person in the room. And weirdly enough, it made me more popular with the other kids. But then came the creative writing assignment. I don't know what it was about that day, but something just clicked. I wrote a story about a boy who lived in the jungle and became friends with an alligator. It was really about toxic relationships and how people can hurt you even when they claim to care about you. I poured everything I had into that story. The next day I got called to the principal's office. He was sitting behind his desk, my paper in his hand, looking angry. Where did you get this? What do you mean? The story. Where did you steal it from? I didn't steal it. I wrote it. Don't lie to me. There's no way you could have written this. And that's when I lost it. All the anger and frustration I've been holding back for months came pouring out. You wanna know why I wrote that? Because you assumed I was an idiot. So I've been acting like one. If you bothered to look at any of my transcripts, you'd know I'm not stupid. I was taking college courses when I was 13. That's impossible. You're lying. Check my records. Go ahead, I'll wait. He did. And a look on his face when he saw my old test scores and transcripts was priceless. But instead of admitting he was wrong, he just got angrier. So you've been making a mockery of this school? Playing us for fools? You did that to yourselves when you decided we were all worthless just because we're in group homes. They sent me to a psychologist after that. A whole day of tests and questions. In the end, he said I had an IQ of 152 and something called borderline personality disorder. Later, they changed that to autism with ADHD and complex post-traumatic stress disorder. But that initial diagnosis was enough to get me out of that joke of a school. I became the first kid from a group home in Redding, California to attend a regular public high school. It wasn't perfect. I still struggled with social situations and sensory overload. But at least I was being challenged academically. As for the principal and teachers at the continuation school, they got a wake-up call. The school board launched an investigation into their treatment of students, and a lot of changes were made. They brought in teachers who actually specialized in working with kids who had difficult backgrounds. The principal was forced to undergo sensitivity training, and eventually he resigned. I graduated high school with honors and went on to college on a full scholarship. It wasn't easy, my autism and PTSD still caused problems sometimes, but I made it through. Now, I work as an advocate for neurodivergent kids in the foster care system. I make sure they get the support and understanding I never had. Looking back, I realized that playing dumb was my way of protecting myself. It was easier to be underestimated than to constantly fight for respect. But writing that story reminded me of who I really was and what I was capable of. It taught me that sometimes the best way to prove people wrong is to simply be yourself, no matter how different that might be.
And now we have reached the end of today's stories. Thank you for watching and see you next time.